This story was sent to me by Coca 2005, and we're headed back down to Florida. And you're probably wondering what in the world we're about to talk about right now in the state of Florida. Well, in this picture, you see a man by the name of William Latson, and he used to be the principal of a high school in Boca Raton, Florida, up until recently, anyway. Because what happened was last year, in around the month of April, there was a series of emails that was sent out to a particular parent at the school for whatever reason, and then the topic of the Holocaust ended up coming up. And he basically, in one of the emails, or it maybe in a series of the emails, had questioned if the Holocaust was even legit, if it was even real. And in this establishment, it's almost like you have to cater really heavily to that particular event, if nothing else. So, of course, he most likely was accused of being anti-Semitic. They got pissed off. And this past week, well, this week actually, really recent, he ended up being fired when they voted 5-2 that he be removed as principal for that district. Now, or for that school. Now, if this was a white teacher that did that with a black parent and they questioned the legitimacy of slavery or its components, that vote would have been a 5-2, but that 5 would have been for them to stay in their position and the 2 would be for them to leave. With him, it, of course, basically they're saying or putting it into him in his face that you will never ever ever question the legitimacy of the Holocaust, whether it happened or not, whether it was this amount of victims or not, or any other component that they put out there. Because it seems like every year they talk about that Holocaust, it seems like their numbers as far as the death toll continues to rise. It's almost like they're trying to compete with what happened during chattel slavery. I've always gotten that notion from them, as far as that is concerned. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from CNN. It says a former high school principal in Boca Raton, Florida, was fired on Wednesday as a result of emails he sent to a student's parent on April 2018 that appeared to cast doubt on the historical truth of the Holocaust. The Palm Beach County School Board voted 5-2 to terminate William Lasson's employment effective on November 21st. So basically, he'll be able to work for another month. According to the district, there's just cause for firing the former principal based on ethical misconduct and failure to carry out job responsibilities. After a parent emailed Lasson in April to ask him how the school teaches students about the Holocaust, Lasson responded, "I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event because I'm not in position to do so as a district employee." That's a very professional answer. They made it seem like he gave this tacky, nasty, vile response. That's a very professional response. And that person got pissed off at that. And he actually gave a very PC answer as well. Because like I said, he could have went off the rails and said, "Don't ask me. I don't know about it. I had nothing to do with it. It wouldn't affect me. Ask somebody else." He could have said that. But they made it seem, or they framed it as if he was completely off the rails with his response, which he wasn't. The school district also specifically criticized Latson for being slow to respond to school district officials during the week his comments came to light. While his email was receiving global news coverage, first off, global news coverage, I didn't even know this happened. Did anybody else know this happened? Because apparently it must have slipped past my radar. Mr. Lasson failed to respond to communications from his supervisors and failed to assist the district in addressing the serious disruption caused by the aforementioned email and news coverage. Lasson and his attorney did not respond to emails and phones for comment Wednesday evening. In an email to high school staff obtained by CNN, Lasson had written that his comments to the parent were not accurately relayed. According to CNN affiliate WFLX, Lasson was taking a vacation in Jamaica as the news of his email surfaced. Lassen had a long career in education, rising to become principal of Spanish River Community High School in Boca Raton, Florida in 2011. In July, the school district of Palm Beach County reassigned Lassen to a new post, working in a district position. Lassen's comments came to light just days earlier when the Palm Beach Post published the excerpts from the emails after obtaining them via an open records request. Now, I noticed that they put district position in quotation, so they're not really specifying what that position is. But ironically, those comments or those emails surfaced just days, like literally close by when he got reassigned. According to the paper, Lassen told the parent, "Not everyone believes the Holocaust happened, and you have your thoughts, but we are a public school and not all of our parents have the same beliefs." Now, that was according to the paper, but that sounds a whole lot different than what his email says. Attached to Lassen's firing notice was an October 11th letter that Superintendent Donald E. Fenoy wrote to the former principal, informing Lassen that he planned to recommend his termination at a school board meeting scheduled for October 30th. Fenoy's letter stated that Lassen had until November 20th, the day before his termination is official, to appeal the decision. The district said Lassen had been counseled about his choices and that he traveled to Washington, D.C. to visit the U.S. Holocaust Museum and learn about the mass genocide perpetrated by the Nazi regime that took the lives of 6 million Jews in Europe. It's crazy. They made him do all of this, but if this was a palm-colored teacher or principal and they did this, they wouldn't send them on a trip to D.C. to go to the African American Museum. The district also affirmed that the Holocaust did in fact occur. Instead, it had previously asked Lassen to expand his school's Holocaust curriculum. Every generation must recognize and learn from the atrocities of the Holocaust's incomprehensible suffering and the enduring stain that it left on humankind, Palm Beach County School Board Chairman Frank Barbieri Jr. said in a statement in July. Now, notice that what he said. He said every generation must recognize and learn from the atrocities of the Holocaust, so on and so forth. Every generation, and that means everybody, must, as in they don't have a choice, learn about the Holocaust. What they're also saying in so many words is that you must learn about only what they went through. It may be some of what somebody else went through, if not all. See, the thing is, they are trying to put their pain and their plight way ahead of everybody else's. When we all know when our ancestors suffered the most, and we suffered here. They suffered over in Germany. But the way they always frame it and the way them reparations was paid out to them, you would think that they suffered here when they didn't. And 6 million compared to how many tens of millions of ADOS bodies that died on this soil for 400 plus years compared to the 10 years the Holocaust lasted? It doesn't even compare. But they'll have you to believe that was the most heinous, I guess you could say, genocide that occurred in history. They'll have you to believe that, when we know that it's not. But yeah, they made sure that they could get rid of this man. And I bet you he'll probably try to appeal this. He's probably working on an appeal now. They'll probably reject it. Because they say the nerve of this black man to say that the Holocaust wasn't real. That's really what it boils down to. How dare this black man question the legitimacy of the Holocaust? But the thing is, in his letter, in his email, he didn't say anything like that. I'm gonna go back and read again what he said. Hold on, let me scroll back up here and see if I can find it. He says, "I can't say the Holocaust is a factual historical event because I am not in a position to do so as a district employee." He's basically protecting his position by giving a certain type of response. He didn't say that it was some BS, which is what they framed it as. And they ran with it. I bet if he gave that same kind of response with slavery, they would have been like, "Oh, okay." But they would have. The thing, like I said, they have to have put in your mind that this was the worst thing that ever happened, the absolute worst, when it definitely was not. Up until 9/11, I guess you could say, then they said that was one of the worst things that happened since the Holocaust. Notice when something that happens mainly affecting palm-colored people, then that's when they want to say the worst happened. But everybody else be damned. The sheer ignorance and arrogance of that bunch never ceases to amaze me. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.